Hey guys, welcome to match number 54. It's the big one, Mumbai versus RCB. Um, First of all, apologies for having missed a lot of games. We've been a little caught up with our personal lives, but hopefully we are back at it for the rest of the season. For the tail end, where looks like all teams have decided to just end up on the same number of points and just have like a showdown in the last 20 odd games. Um, what did you think of the game that just got done, Jammu, KKR, and
Russell Viper, Dusty.
uh,
I
saved our team. Both of
yeah,
us had him as captain.
I think the thing with Russell is he used to win these games consistently for KKR for a very long time, and it was good to see him do that again. And Punjab bowling again disappointing in terms of how they bowl up front in the power play. So middle overs not giving Brar, I think the enough like overs to go at batsmen just because of those matchups was sort of for me a little baffling because I think at times matchups don't really work; they are overrated, and I think that is something that could have turned the game in Punjab's favor.
Yeah, I think captaincy is really coming to the making those fine differences right
Correct.
now. Uh, Even Sanju the other day bowling Kuldeep Yadav,
Yeah.
not bowling McCoy, and then that just screwed that game up. So yeah, good, good, good stuff so far. Let's go into Mumbai RCB. Both teams tied at 10 points, I think fifth and sixth or sixth and seventh or somewhere roundabouts. The winner, shoots up to third. Loser, looking at a unrealistic. Uh, so yeah, it's like a sort of like a virtual knockout. Not really there because KKR won, but yeah, still a very very big game for both teams.
Correct.
Um, what do you expect in terms of lineup for both teams?
I don't think they're gonna change a lot, both the teams. Mumbai, I think that one or two players who are batting in the lower middle order and their bowlers, right, who are getting them those 4 or 5 overs. That's you never know. They might put a Ramandeep in, or they might again put an Arjun Tendulkar back. So Mumbai that way is a team because if you look at the bowlers, except for Chawla, everyone has been all over the place. So I'm not sure on how they want their bowling combinations to be, with Green also not being an effective bowler. RCB look like a more settled side now with Hazelwood coming in. But again, they also have plenty of concerns when you look at the number of these red grids that you see on the screen.
Yeah, and they're confused there as well, right? Like Suyash, Kedar, Shabaz, Rawat. I mean, I think Kedar Yadav gets a go because he didn't bat the last game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting to see. But anyway, I think fantasy wise, you're not really looking at any of these names because there are a lot of other names.
Yeah.
So maybe we can just dive into that without really going into the lineup in too much detail. I think one thing quickly about MI, which I'm very intrigued about, is right. Like they play three foreigners every game.
Hmm.
What is up with Brewers? I don't get it. Like
Yeah.
baby AB must be something to do with his, I don't know, like how he's playing in the nets or niggle. But I was really hoping to see him in there. But yeah, I don't think it's happening.
Yeah. I,
Anyway,
again, but that's the thing, right? Like choosing a Stubbs probably for an over or two because Stubbs can give you that bowling option. But I was
नहीं तब
definitely.
खेला तो भी ना, like even then he played instead of Riley.
Hmm.
They still had just three foreigners, so they
Hmm.
could have played Brewis over like I don't know anyone, any Indian, Vadhera or someone, but they
Yeah,
chose not to do that, which is very strange.
correct.
Cool. I think we can go to our picks. Um, so I think Faf, Kohli, no brainers from RCB. But who are your next picks from RCB? Let's maybe start with RCB.
RCB, I'll probably pick Siraj in my team for again he has shown great form. He's been consistent, and I feel the form that Rohit is carrying and the sort of technique Kishan has, Siraj has a good chance of definitely picking one of the two. So Siraj makes it to the team.
Yeah. I think one X factor I have my eye on is Maxwell. Now he's been a shit show away from home, but I think Wankhede is the ground जहाँ कुछ तो कर पाएगा maybe.
Correct.
Especially with Mumbai's bowlers, like apart from Chawla, I don't see anyone troubling him.
Yep.
So I think he's a very good X factor. I think people have lost hope on him after the last few games. I think last match also was golden duck, but I think he has potential to do well at the Wankhede.
करेक्ट मैक्सी के साथ वही आई थिंक हमने पहले एक वीडियो में बात किया था द प्रॉब्लम आई हैव विद दैट गाय इज हिज इनकंसिस्टेंसी लाइक यू कैनॉट बी वन ऑफ द बेस्ट इंटरनेशनल ऑलराउंडर्स एंड कम एंड आइदर वैक और गेट आउट फॉर जीरो सो आई फील कि वो चीज में उसको थोड़ा सा अपने को एडजस्ट करना चाहिए क्रीज में पहले एंड देन ही कैन रियली गो आउट एंड प्ले ऑल हिज शॉट्स सो last game he got a good delivery as well, but yeah, in a stadium like Wankhede, he can be lethal.
Yeah, and I think the thing with him till last year was he was getting wickets.
Correct.
And इस साल वो हो नहीं रहा है. He's not getting enough bowling first of all, obviously with the impact player and all that.
Yeah.
So I think that reduces his value quite a bit. But yeah, I think still a good X factor.
Correct.
Anyone else comes to mind? What do you think about Lomro? Seems like another RCB batsman is finally hitting some stride.
Correct. So he was really impressive with the shot making. I feel Lomrur का वो part clear हो गया है कि if he comes in the middle overs, he's taking on the spinners. Like we saw when they played KKR, he took on KKR spinners. When they played Delhi, he started like he went after Kuldeep. So I feel Lomrur उस तरीके से he's a very settled player. He's getting those starts and he's sort of trying to make them big. Um, in case say RCB are batting first, he's definitely an X factor. Like in case RCB are batting first, you might still see Maxwell coming above him in the order if say Kohli and Faf they get going and they have a big partnership. But Lomro definitely becomes an X factor because you saw कि as soon as say the bowlers were taken to the cleaners, Faf threw the ball to him, right? So you never know, one over can get you one wicket and then he's giving you a good 30-40 runs. He's a good X factor.
Yeah. I think another X factor in my mind is Hazelwood.
Yep.
I think even though Wankhede is predominantly a batting pitch, I think he has potential. There will be something for him, especially on this pitch.
Yeah.
And again, same point you made with Rohit and Kishan and that vulnerability they have. I think Hazelwood could get the wickets instead of Siraj. So I think he's a good X factor pick.
Yeah.
I think the rest of RCB is an avoid, or do you think anyone else comes to mind? What about Hasaranga?
Again, he's good. He's finding form, but he does not look as lethal as he looked in say
Yeah, and I think
Sixers
Wankhede is not going to suit him.
and Wankhede is also not going to give him. And the thing is, all these guys are capable of tonking him long, right? So even their miss hits are going to go for six in a round like Wankhede. So Hasaranga is a wait and watch for me.
All right, let's move on to the better team, Mumbai. I think Green is the first guy on my mind. I think one thing interesting is what Rohit does this game. I mean, he came one down last game.
Yeah.
Does he do that again? That might protect him from Siraj as well.
Yep.
Will be interesting to see. But nonetheless, Green comes there or comes one down. I don't think he's going to come 3 down, 4 down like he did earlier. So I think Green is a safe guy. He will bowl those 2 overs for sure.
Yep.
So yeah, I think I really like Green as a pick. And then of course is the man who's back to form and how, right? Like Surya. Looking so good last few games. Wankhede, of course, home. So yeah, I think Sky is a really
and this is his track record against RCB in particular.
Can't see the power play.
1 second. Okay, I think it's okay. Now
see it now. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I think just give me a moment. I think my laptop is running out of charge. Just give me a moment. I'll be back.
Yeah. So yeah, while Jammu is away, so Surya, Green looking good. I think Rohit Sharma is a big wait and watch still because of all the reasons we mentioned, right? Like Siraj and Hazelwood likely to trouble him. Um, but that being said, always a peril, especially with a guy like Rohit, who's a run machine. You always expect him to catch up to law of averages sometime or the other.
Yeah.
But just the way, yeah, I was just telling about Rohit, right? Like he's
Yeah.
a wait and watch for sure, but somewhere in your heart and mind, you're like, okay, law of averages will catch up, but it's just very hard to say just because of the way he's playing, his body language, the shot selection. It's just, I don't think you go there unless until he actually turns up and scores like a 20-30.
Correct.
So yeah. What about Ishan? What do you think of Ishan? Again, Bankhade is a pitch he likes, but do you think he survives Siraj and Hazelwood up front?
I doubt. I like him for the aggressive opener he is, but I still feel that if they are chasing a big target, or even if they are batting first, where he's playing freely and without a lot of pressure, I feel one of the two, right, Siraj or Hazelwood, they get the better of him. Also, the fact that he has not had Rohit like that stable partner, right, at the top of the order. So he sort of has to take more responsibility of doing the opening partnership, like being that the bigger of the two batsmen in the opening partnership and scoring more. So I feel that's the sort of pressure he's not really able to handle. But going by the quality that Siraj and Hazelwood will bring up the order, I don't see Ishan scoring a lot.
Yeah.
But he's definitely an X factor. Like if he gets going in the power play, the signs of trouble for RCB.
Yeah. And I think just to cap off batsmen, I think Tilak is also a good X factor or maybe a good buy because
Why I feel, yeah,
mostly he missed the last game. I don't know if 100% if he'll be back, but it was sickness, so he should be. Um, so yeah, again, I mean, he's just been quality. The only thing is he's coming at three down, so that lowers your ceiling as a fantasy pick, but he's still really consistent. And is the best uncapped pick for sure in this game. And the other name you added, right? Chavla. Like if you told me at the beginning of the season that with 20 games left, Chavla would be in the hunt for the purple cap, I would have applied for like King of England or something. Like how the fuck did that happen? That is just
correct,
crazy.
correct.
Um, but yeah, I think what about all the folks in the middle? Do any other bowlers or any of the tailenders excite you?
I don't think so. So I think these are two batting heavy sides. Batting is their main suit. I think RCB is the happier of the two in the bowling department, with say Siraj finding form, Hazelwood like being an experienced international player. Mumbai will be expecting a lot more out of the likes of Archer, just
Yeah.
because he has that potential of doing things, big things, but again he has disappointed so far in the season. But
I
I
think he's a good X factor though, because
correct,
purely
correct.
because especially if RCB bat first,
Yeah,
because he has change of I mean he has variations. He might trouble RCB's middle order, particularly. I don't think he's gonna trouble Faf Kohli, but the players after that I think he could very much trouble.
I always have a feeling that some of the big international players, right, like that you have seen perform on bigger stages outside of the IPL, they get charged up playing against Kohli. Like I know Kohli takes that as a motivation, but like his wicket up the order, or making sure that he's kept quiet at one end. That's like an added motivation for some of these players. So uh, based on the current some instances that happened, right, in terms of how aggressive RCB has been on the field, I definitely see a few battles brewing, and I definitely expect some of these guys to come out a little bit more aggressive in their normal usual self, and then trying to perform for their teams.
Yeah. And one thing about Vadhera, right? Like I know a lot of people will see that he scored a 64 or something in the last game. But I think that was very situational, right? Like Mumbai lost 3 wickets or 4 wickets or something in the power play. And so, he came on before David and stuff. But I don't see that happening again. I think, and again, of course, unless they crumble again, I don't see him come that high up the order. So I would stay clear.
All right. I think
I don't think there's
a lot of
much more.
premium players across the goodbyes and the X factors. Who are your captaincy and vice captaincy choice? I think it's a very difficult one with batting friendly wickets, small ground, both teams depending heavily on their batting orders, and few of those guys being in, some of the best form that we are seeing across this IPL. So, who do you go as your captaincy choices, Vishnu?
So I think my two picks would be Faf and Green.
Okay.
I think in the reckoning, obviously, I would have said Kohli, but because you have to pick, I think the thing with Kohli is that I think he's under the pump after the last game, right, where he again scored a slow 50.
Yeah.
I think he'll come out very aggressive, and I don't think that suits Kohli.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a certainty. He might still do a Kohli and hit 50 or 45, but um, it's just a guess, right? Like if I had to really pick, I would go Faf and Green purely because of, you know, right up the order. With Green, you have his bowling, and with Faf, you have his consistency. So I would put Kohli third, but I think these three are like honestly the standout picks. And yeah, of course, Surya, which you
Correct.
mentioned.
Yeah. I think my school of thought is the other way around. I feel the thing with Kohli in IPL is if he finds form, he finds consistent form. I think that is something that across the years, right, that is always sort of the quality about Kohli that stands out and makes him the greatest IPL batsman for me is the consistency he shows. So I know he's getting slow runs, but at the same time, if you see him taking on the bowlers, right, in the first 4 or 5 overs, he does it without a lot of risks. He's doing it with, say, still like very good cricketing shots. He's making sure that, Faf gets the strike when Faf gets in the mood. So I feel Kohli is someone who's reliable at top of the order. And Surya, for obvious reasons, right? He's found form when his chips were down, when a lot of people like started pointing out fingers, and at the same time, playing against RCB has always been a motivating factor for him. And if he when he performs in Wankhede, whenever he plays, he's for chases, he's a master. And even if they're batting first, he can come and give you a 40 ball 80. So I feel for me, Kohli and Surya are the captaincy and the vice captaincy choices.
Nice. Let's see. Tomorrow we'll keep tab.
Yep. All right.
Cool. Let's maybe move on to Dream 11 then. All right. So I think a lot of names which we have discussed pick themselves on the left, right? Kishan, Kohli, Surya, Faf, Siraj, Hazelwood, Chawla, Green, Maxi. And again, yeah, safe choices. I think 4 names pick themselves, the ones we just discussed. What do you think of let's start with differentials, right? Like, do you want to talk about like the names you have here?
Yep, I feel Mumbai. I feel Tim David is a differential, like irrespective of who bats first or like second. Because for me, uh, he's the only person across these two sides who can give you a 15 ball 40, right? And if he's coming out to bat, say when Mumbai needs him, I think such is the situation that you need to score that. Or if he's batting first and he's coming out, that basically means that last you're looking at the last 4 or 5 overs, and some of the people lower the order getting promoted before him if Mumbai, sort of lose a lot of heap of wickets at the beginning of the inning. So Tim David is someone I regard really high in terms of power hitting. So he's a possible differential. And Tilak Verma, for again, we have seen what he can do at the top of the order, number 3, number 4 this season. very consistent, good technique, can take on both pacers and spinners, and he definitely looks a find for playing Indian international cricket in the future. So no.
David, I think like just coming back to David, the only thing is I'm very speculative because I think his ceiling is like 60, 70 points, right? Like no matter what, because even in the last game when Mumbai crumbled, it was still Badhera who came ahead of him, and he came on again, very late, 18th,
Correct.
19th. So, 40 or 15 is the best he can do.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I mean that and 40 or 15 is not something you do every other day. It's like a 2 or 3 times a season phenomena, right? So I'm just very speculative about it. But if Mumbai bat first, yeah, I mean if they lose a wicket in the 14th or 15th over, no matter what, David might come out. So yeah, there is potential for him to explode. Um, yeah. And yeah, RCB bat first. I think Lomrower we discussed looking very good. And Archer with his variation, might get a lot of death over wickets, might even trouble a lot of their, RCB's weak middle order.
Yeah.
So what do you think about bold captains? Do you have any picks in mind?
Bold captains, I know Maxi does not really look to be a bold pick because of what he brings to the table, but with these 4 players in particular, right, and then the destruction they can have in a fantasy setup, I feel Maxi is my bold pick, given the fact that he can come and play a good 30-40 ball blinder and then can give you a wicket or two. Catches, fielding, he's always there. So Maxi is my first bold pick.
Yeah, I think it really is like very bold to go outside those 4.
Yeah.
But I think based on who bats first, right? I think both Hazelwood and Archer
Right.
become really good options. I think Archer less so, to be very frank, but I think Hazelwood especially, right? If Mumbai bat first,
Yeah.
I can see him really like hoard wickets in the death, especially. Like he'll trouble up front, he'll trouble in the death, he'll trouble Mumbai batsmen throughout the innings. So I think every over he has potential. And yeah, I think he's a very good. He's my bold captain of the day.
Yep. Yep. I think it's gonna be a cracker of a game. I think the stakes are high. The incentive for both the teams to go out there and perform at their absolute best that's really high. And at the same time, looking at the way Punjab, Rajasthan, and LSG are crumbling in the mid-table, I feel Mumbai and RCB are the 2 teams who have a really good chance if they can find like a peak form at this stage of the season. So both the teams will be raring to make a statement here. And I definitely feel the winner of this game, you're going to see them in the playoffs because of the dynamics of the table right now. So let's see, and then let's make sure that you get the most out of the fantasies this game.
Yeah, big toss tomorrow, big game.
Big
Looking
loss.
forward to. Yeah, I'll be in the stadium, so looking forward to that. Hope Mumbai doesn't disappoint.
Yeah.
And yeah, hope Mumbai doesn't disappoint your fantasy team. Yeah, all the best, guys. See you guys for the
See
next
you guys
game.
next game.